So the MakeCode Minute today, what we're going to do is take a look at using MakeCode, here's our friend MakeCode, to program a Circuit Playground Express running on the Crickit for Circuit Playground Express. I want to use a capacitive touch sensor, the one there's 4 of them built onto the Crickit. I want to use one of those to control the angle of a servo motor. So here's the build. I've got a Crickit with Circuit Playground Express. I have a hobby servo, it's one of our standard Tower Pro SG5010, and I've hot glued a popsicle stick onto the servo horn so that we can see the movement a little better than just the little black piece of plastic on there. So with the, if you're not familiar with servos, they have 3 wires. They have a signal wire, which is this yellow wire here, power, which is red or orange sometimes, and ground, which is brown or black sometimes. On the Crickit, we can plug that into any of these 4 ports on here. I'm going to plug it into servo port 1, and I'm going to plug it with the signal wire facing out away from the center of the board. So like that, that's the proper way to do it. With that plugged in, I'm going to plug it into USB for programming on the Circuit Playground Express. And now it's ready to be programmed. It's actually gone into its bootloader mode, so it's ready for me to drag a program onto it. So what we want to do is rotate this servo using one of these capacitive touch sensors when I touch it. So if we look over here at MakeCode, here's how you do it. I'm going to, in my forever loop, so let me make a new one, and I'll disconnect something from that and delete that old one. I can go to, I've already set this up, you saw me do it last week. I can go to Extensions and choose Crickit. And that loads up the Crickit package for MakeCode. So now I have options, new options in this category section. And under Crickit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the servo 1 angle to 90 degrees. If I load this onto my board right now, it's just going to move the servo to the center position, 90. So servos go from 0 to 180 if they're a typical type of servo, which this one is, and so 90 is in the middle. Now what I want to do is I want to control this value. Instead of just being 90 degrees, I want it to be a number that's derived from me touching the capacitive touch sensor. So if we look again in the Crickit category and head down here to the bottom, there's a touch section. And if I drag that up and in, I'm going to put that right on my forehead so you can see it. It says Crickit read touch, and then we can pick 1, 2, 3, or 4. So we'll pick touchpad number 1. If I use this right now, there's going to be a problem because that capacitive touch sensor's values that it reads are roughly 190 units to 1023 units. That's about what we tend to get on this board with the current calibration. These things will become more advanced as we bang on this program and as you bang on this program and give us feedback so that you can calibrate and tune them. I just happen to know those values. I looked at the REPL inside of Circuit Playground Express while or rather inside of Moo, while I was running a Circuit Playground or Circuit Python program on it. So that was convoluted, but long story short, I know those values are around 200-ish to 1023. When you press it, you get closer to upper 900s. So what I want to do is I want to remap those values into roughly 0 to 180 degrees. So what I'm going to use is in the circuit, in the MakeCode math section, we have this really handy node here called map. So what I'm going to do is map the Circuit Playground read. I just dropped it in here so it's a little more solid and you can read it. So the map function is going to take whatever value is read on the Crickit's touchpad 1, and then it's going to map those values from a low of, and I'm going to say, let's say 300, to a high of, how about 900. And when it takes those values, it's going to remap them to whatever range you put in here. So I'm going to put, say, around 10 to around 1070. A lot of servos don't quite go, whoops, that's a big number, 10 to about 170. A lot of servos won't go fully to those edges without bumping into internal gearing or parts or something. I'm not quite sure why they don't always give you as promised. Sometimes you may find they will, but I will often start a little lower and see if that's enough range for what I'm doing. So that is it. That is our whole program. So what I'm going to do now is download that, save that file, and now I'm going to drag it onto my Circuit Playground Express. And I'm really going to do it so that I'm not just using one that I had on there before. So it has just reloaded, and now let me show it to you. So here is my Crickit. Does not have a power plugged into it right now, so I'm going to grab, this is a 5-volt, 2-amp wall power supply. You could also use 3 AA alkaline batteries. So when I plug that into there, I can then turn on the Crickit's power. Is it on? Yeah, it's on. I can see there's a little green light there. And let's reset the Circuit Playground Express, because when it starts up, it wants to see that the Crickit is there so it can start communicating with it. And now, if I press that, so it's kind of nice because you get a fairly fluid motion using that capacitive touch sensor, sort of like you would with a potentiometer, unlike a button, which is going to just sort of jump the value directly. So here you can see we get the nice little sort of puppeteering control for our servo using basically one block inside of MakeCode. So it's really fun to prototype stuff in there. I really like the visual design of it. It's a very easy way to sort of map your thinking and your logic of what you want to do directly into action. So that is the MakeCode Minute today. I hope you enjoyed that.